All right, podcast people out there, a new podcast on BeTerrific.com. It's called Behind the Laughter. And why is it called Behind the Laughter? Because all you people out there, you go to comedy clubs, you think comedians have a great life, and you think, oh, that's so funny. You work for an hour, you make all this money. You guys have no clue what goes on behind the scenes. And my partner here, Mr. Reverend Bob Levy, or Bob Levy, Sir Bob Levy. What are we calling you these days?
My wife calls me asshole. It seems to work pretty well. I kind of listen to that when she says it. But, it's all good. It doesn't matter. You can call me Sir Robert Levy the third.
So Bob and I met each other, God, it has to be, 12 years ago?
Or more. I don't even know.
Brought that freak show to my club.
Oh yeah, from the Stern
asshole.
What was it called? I don't even know what it was called. Thank God that accident made me forget a lot of stuff in my life because I'm pretty dead.
Bob and I have been together for a while.
Yeah.
Myself, just to give people a background, I own Uncle Vinny's in Point Pleasant Beach. We do 250 shows a year there. We do shows outside, different fundraisers, firehouses, you name it. We send some comedians to casinos. We do theater shows with some of the major guys. And Bob, why don't you give your background a little bit? What do you got going?
Well,
over years. And when did you start?
I think I started in 1988. The microphone was just made. It just had a cord on it. No, I mean I was on there for a while, and then it was great. It was like comedy was all over, and then I got on the Stern show. I was there for 8 years. I was on Opie and Anthony, Kid Chris show. I mean, I was on every big radio show, basically, and I'm still ruining them to these days. I'm on other shows. I'm on Anthony Cumia's show with Dave Landau, Gino Bisconte, and all the Compound Media guys, and I'm loving it. You know what I mean? I love the business, but I hate the business. You know what I mean? It's like two ways to say.
A lot of guys say that.
Yeah.
A lot of guys say that.
It's just not cool the way people treat each other in this business.
Well, you've been lucky enough that you had a second job.
No.
A long time.
But I had to get another wife because,
Well, I've known three.
Yeah, I had four. So
well, 3 out of 4.
And it's not from, like my wife now will be like, oh, because you need health insurance for your operation. I go, that's not why we're together. Because you make good money being a nurse. That's why we're together.
That's right.
It has nothing to do with the insurance.
And if she was taking care of you, you wouldn't need the health insurance.
Exactly. Well, she's an ass doctor, and I'm the biggest ass doctor in the world. I'm the biggest asshole in the world. She actually is that kind of, people come in and they get their ass worked on. And she...
What, like implants?
No.
Colonoscopy.
Yeah, like stuff like but other like operations and stuff like that, and she puts them out and wakes them up and that stuff. I guess she hits them in the face like she does me. Get up, stupid.
But I tell you, over the years though, have you seen the ups and downs in this business?
Oh, it's all it is up and downs. It's just. Once it's going up again, there'll be a whole new thing of new comedians to bring it down or new bookers. And it kills it because anybody can be a comedian. Everybody on Facebook is a comedian because they have their picture, their profile picture is them on stage somewhere. But you never see the audience in front of it. So I don't, it's like anybody can be, do this.
You know what? I attribute to... You ever hear if you go into a restaurant and you have a customer, oh, you should have my grandmother make the meatballs. She makes the best meatballs.
Everybody.
Yeah, because at Christmas time, nobody has the balls to tell your grandmother her meatballs suck.
Well, that's what it is.
But as soon as a restaurant, you have to pay $1 for that meatball, they have no problem saying it. And it's the same thing with comics.
Yeah.
You make your family laugh at the holidays, all of a sudden now you're a comic.
Exactly, because somebody told you to go on stage. Like if you're going to be, there should be a judge, you know what I mean? That you should be judge. You should be able to pass something to be approved by your peers to be a comedian.
Right.
You shouldn't be able to just say you're a comic. That's like me saying I'm a doctor, like at a bar trying to pick up women. You know what I mean? You can't do it. I'm not a doctor. You know what I mean? Just because I might have cut myself with a knife doesn't make me a doctor because I work with knives. I work with sharp things. I've been around them. It doesn't do it.
You know how many people ask me if you're really a reverend?
Oh, they're idiots, most people. I know that. I mean, I love the people that come to the shows, but, some of them just don't think. They don't want to think.
No.
That's why they come out.
Why don't you tell people the story about that? How you got the Reverend nickname?
Well, Jackie the Joke Man made it up because I was my second time on stage, and I was eating the biggest dick possible in West Orange, New Jersey, and I was just about, had the balls in, and they're just oohing and oohing. And I get off, and it was just silence. And Jackie didn't know what to say, and he goes, "Hey, how about a hand for the Reverend?" And that's how I got it. Jackie the Joke Man said it just to make people feel comfortable.
Oh, Jesus. That was the Rascals, right?
Yeah, in West Orange.
West Orange. Yeah, they had a couple clubs. They had one in West Orange. They had one in Ocean Township.
Yeah, that was good, too.
And I think they had one in Cherry Hill for a little
then,
bit, too.
It started to get different owners. And
different owners came in.
Once that happens, it's over.
Supposedly there's some embezzlement going on. One guy went to Europe.
Well, that's what, everybody goes. It's every booker has the biggest houses in this business, and the comedians, only a couple do. No, but I'm just saying, like bookers, like all bookers go on vacation all the time. I don't know when the last time I took a vacation, but they're always posting from fucking, somewhere nice like Seaside Heights. No, I don't know.
Or posting to have heated floors in their living room.
Yeah, I mean, nobody should even know that about you.
Right, exactly. But
I really think I'm getting that bird flu or whatever.
You getting coronavirus?
Yeah. No, but I mean, it's like when you watch something like that, that's what happens,
It's something about this business. I'll tell you. Why do people think because you have a stage and you have a microphone, you can open up a comedy club?
Because people, this is the American dream of entertainment. You know what I mean? Where you can do whatever you want. It doesn't mean if it's right or not, but you can open up anything and you can book in the biggest piles of shit, and people will come to it for a while.
But why is it the longest run on the totem pole when it comes to entertainment? Comedy's at the bottom.
Well,
comedians get least respect out of anybody.
You know what? It should be the most. You know what I mean? It's the more talent than reading a line and going, "What? She fell and she killed herself?" I mean, I can do that.
You just did.
You see?
And that killed.
You see? Yeah. I mean, I can act if I want. I've been married 4 times. You don't think my acting skills are pretty good to get them to walk down an aisle?
Now, you ever got into acting? Professional acting?
No, I fucking, I don't know. I'm just not a good liar, so I wouldn't be a good actor, I think.
Is that something a comedian will go for? Is that's their end goal, is to be an actor? Or
it wasn't mine. Mine was just not to be able to work anymore and just have somebody telling me what to do. But now everybody tells you what to do anyway. Can you work cleaner? Why? It's like, let me just do me. I like John says, he goes, Kensel was saying, my percentage of killing on stage or doing really good is higher than almost everybody. It's really high. I don't have a bad set at all, even close to it, no matter what situation. And it's like, they just don't want to pay the money anymore because they're going to find someone that's going to do it. They'd rather make money than make money over the long run.
It's the only business that I see do that. These little pop-up rooms all over the place. And you know what? They put on shit acts.
Yeah.
Okay? Maybe they're headline themselves.
That happens. People get into that for that.
And the problem is the public looks and says, oh, there's a comedy show. Who cares if it's at a bagel shop? But there's a comedy show going on. And they see it, and it's a disaster.
Yeah.
And then if you post Uncle Vinny's has a comedy night tonight, or we got comedy shows going, when's a comedy show at the bagel shop? That wasn't really that good. I'm not going to go there.
Exactly.
I'll sit home and watch Comedy Central.
All right. When we bring on our guests, I want to open up with a place that I found out is doing comedy. You guys are going to be shocked. All right, bring on the guests because I'm going to shock you.
Well, one thing we're going to do on this show is every week we're going to have a real comedian, not an open mic comedian, a real comedian come in. And today we have Mr. John Moses.
What's up, Johnny? There you go. Sit down.
Hey, I haven't been here the whole time.
Now, John.
Magical cameras.
Yeah. You are going to love this. Me and Kensel were coming up to do the other show, right? Yeah. And he's telling me that this girl, they're doing comedy this Friday night at a Perkins, what is it, Pancakes? Is that what it is, right?
Yeah.
That's where they're doing comedy.
A Perkins restaurant.
A Perkins restaurant. Can you believe that? I'll badmouth the shit out of it.
Yeah.
But if they gave me $1,000, I'd probably do it.
Oh, I do it for 300.
Oh, Jesus.
No, but you get, No, but I'm saying, you understand what I'm saying? It's like, it's a Perkins, you know what I mean? You have to put an end to, certain places can't do it, right? I mean, you've done shitty places.
Of course. I think I did a TGI Fridays.
You know what? Those were big back then.
Yeah.
Like even in Staten Island back then.
Oh,
it
yeah,
was.
yeah. I think we did it at the bar or something.
Yeah.
I mean, listen, you asked the question, why does anybody, why is comedy the lowest entry point? Why does anybody think they can do it? Because it's so easy. Why does Netflix cram out 100 comedy specials a year? Because all you need is a microphone and a
That's
good
what
sound
it is.
system and a spotlight, and that's it. You get an hour's worth of content. They pay somebody $100,000. Try making a movie that somebody's going to give a fuck about for $100,000.
Exactly.
It's the lowest entry point. And you're right. People will go out to a garbage show and then they'll be soured on the live comedy experience, and they'll go home and they'll watch Comedy Central, and most of that sucks.
It does, right? TV.
Oh, my God.
TV is like TV. I believe TV actually killed comedy. Comedy was at its peak in the late 80s. Like when I started, it was everywhere. There was clubs everywhere. There was 5 clubs in corners of Boston that were everything was selling out. Every club was selling out. Then all of a sudden TV got a hold of it.
Right.
Now there was shows on Fox. Everything had a comedy thing. Comedy Central, but it's not funny. It's not funny, There's nothing.
I laugh all the time because I have customers, and we have little comment cards on the table who you like to see. And there was one comic going back a few years ago, and you guys can't say names, because you're like a fraternity. And you know what? He might get you a gig or whatever.
Nobody gets me a gig. Let me tell you. I've been crippled from an accident. Nobody got me a gig.
No one's going to get me a gig. So I might slip and say some names, but I'm going to go with initials as much as possible.
Okay.
This one agency called me up, and this guy, JB, he was on Last Comic Standing. And I'll tell you, the price they charge me to bring him in, but you have to hire a headliner
With them?
Right.
to finish the show. I
he's
said,
only got
no
20 minutes.
fucking way am I doing that. But the problem is they look at Last Comic Standing. Now, you mean to tell me that on Last Comic Standing, those are the best 10 comics in the country?
No, they're not at all.
No.
You have the lesbian.
Right.
You have the guy who had a drug problem.
And the flipper guy.
You have the flipper guy.
You always have a flipper guy.
Right.
You know, you have the
right.
redneck from Texas.
Right.
No, they're not the funniest guys.
A big fat black chick.
Yeah.
They check that box.
But they're looking to appease the whole United States.
They're not looking for funny. They're just trying to show that everybody is. Look to it. They're doing comedy, and look, you can be black, you can have you can be Chinese, or you can have a flipper.
Right. AGT's the worst. You got to have a flipper in a story.
Yeah, It's like you can't be funny on there. I know I can go on there and do a minute of clean each week and just keep winning. But of course, they wouldn't. They go, who is this handsome fella? Who is this guy that's been handsome in every decade? I mean, and he's coming up here now and he's doing good.
You might actually have a chance now because you're coming back from the car accident.
Well, that's what
actually take
you know what? Put me in a goddamn wheelchair and let me overprice.
Are you saying
myself.
that you're eliminated?
No, but overprice me. Overprice me. Look, I'm all for. I never want to be. Take too much money. I want to just get paid what I would.
Right.
I think I should get. But you know what I mean? If somebody's going to, if somebody's going to pay you $30,000, you're like 30. I'm not worth. You know what I mean? Nobody's worth really $30,000. If you really look at it, they're not. Sorry, it's fucking comedy.
Right.
You know what I mean? But if somebody's going to give you $8,000. 10 grand? Yeah, that's cool. That's really cool. Thank you. I'm going to kill for you.
Right.
I'll tell you this. It's funny you say that because I remember a Bob Levy story. I don't even think I even told you the story. This is when I first started doing comedy there. And I had a guy come in. He goes, yeah, I wish Bob would have done my wedding for cheaper. I said, your wedding? He goes, yeah, I was getting married in the Dominican Republic. And I'm a huge Stern fan at the time you were on. I wanted Bob to do my wedding, but I called his manager.
I have a manager?
And his manager said, yeah, it's going to be $25,000 plus first class air, plus meals and everything else, and he's going to be there for 4 days. So he says, I had like a $10,000 budget. I couldn't do 25,000 plus.
Fuck, you could have called me direct.
Jesus Christ.
I said, looking at him, I'm like, first of all, I know Bob has no manager.
Yeah.
And I said, who'd you call? And I'm going to say HE.
AG?
HE. Name of the agency. I said, I'll tell you right now, I would have called Bob up today. He would have done it for 5,000.
First class.
And probably would have walked.
I wouldn't have walked, but I mean, look, first class, $5 grand.
First class air, $5 grand.
Take care of my
In and
food
out.
and drink and
Yeah.
whatever.
In and out?
Yeah.
Yeah. Start sending me facts about your father-in-law.
Oh my
Yeah,
God.
yeah.
But this business,
roast him.
I'll make fun of that bitch wife of yours.
But these agencies,
Well,
these
the agents,
bookers,
they wield too much
horrible.
power,
Well,
and when you're in with them, it's great. Like I remember, being repped for like a minute with an agency, and they were like, "Hey, I know you got an opening in 3 weeks. Can you squeeze this kid in?" And they're like dangling a Jay Moore weekend over their heads. If
yeah,
they
that's
don't
what
do
they
it.
do.
And that's great. I'm like, oh, all right, this is how it works, right? But then, once they go away and you start going everybody's spam folder again, the work dries out.
Well, it worked. Look, you know what I mean? I was out for probably 8 months where I didn't work at all. You know what I mean? I had done one gig after the accident. And just coming back and seeing and trying to get work is unbelievable. It was unbelievable to get work. You know what I mean? I couldn't get work, and nobody would even take me on a gig. You know what I mean? It's so funny. Like you hear. I mean, I always help people in this business. That's all. I don't think anybody.
Yeah, you've been good to me.
No, but I don't think anybody's better. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
I don't think you're going to take my job. You know what I
Right,
mean?
right.
It's like for good comedians, why are you worried about that?
Right.
But
There's plenty to eat.
then people say, oh, I can't follow you. You know what I mean? I can't put you on a show. What does that mean? What is that? Why? So I'm being punished for being funny.
Right.
Basically, you're telling me. So I'm on my own. So at least, say, hey, tell this guy to use me. Tell this guy. I don't need no benefit or nothing like that. I want to work. I want to get back. You know what I mean?
Right.
But nobody wants to. They'd rather do something and then just cast you away, it seems. That's how comedy is. You know what I mean? When you're hot, when you can do shit my phone rang like a motherfucker when I could do shit for people.
Right.
And I always did shit for people. But people called me, as soon as I started getting back to work, I'd put gigs up on Facebook and Twitter. People would hit me up and go, hey, can you get me some work? And I'm like, I'm fucking just getting back. I'm not even back in this. I'm still not back in this
I don't even
business.
remember our relationship.
But no, but they go, yo, so you're working all over. Can you? I'm like, I'm not. Compared to what I was doing,
Right.
No, there isn't that much work out there, and I'm just getting back. And you're asking somebody that just didn't even get his surgery yet.
I hate posting about gigs because I know I'm going to get 5 messages from comics going, who books that?
Yeah.
And I'm like, dude, can I go and fucking kill first? And then maybe I could put a word in somewhere, maybe,
It's funny you say that because Tim Grill, at the end of the year, and I'm going to say his name because I use him and stuff, so he's a good guy. At the end of the year, he puts out his little thing, his little thank you for the year, whoever books him and stuff like that. He mentioned Uncle Vinny's and my name. Over 30 inbox messages from comics I never even fucking heard of before.
Right.
Hey, I'm good friends with Tim Grill, and Tim said to court. I know Tim would never stick his neck out on a line. And in fact, Tim
not for all
knows the
of
door's closed.
Right.
Yeah.
Well, that's the other thing. I can probably, and I'm in a position where it's like, I might be able to help one person. What makes you think it's you?
Yeah, well, that's one
You
thing.
know? Like I got a fucking tight group of guys who, if I can help, I can help. Of
course.
Well, that's what it is. It's like somebody comes out of the blue and they're always asking. Like I won't ask people.
Right.
I just, you know what I mean? I just expect them to, after all I've done, to do something.
Right.
But they don't do anything. And that's cool. You know what I mean? Because it's just different. It's different life than what I grew up with. You know what I mean? Would these people, if I got into a fight and somebody pulled out a knife, they'd run.
Right.
My friends that I grew up with would
not.
That's the difference between this business and real friends, truthfully.
Well, that's
and you got to say, you got to look at it that way.
This is a different podcast. But also, I mean, it is an era thing too, right? Like, I think you did grow up or come up in comedy in an era of plenty. And now there's it's an era of plenty of comics. and just not so much work.
Yeah, but
you know?
there's not comics. They're not comics.
Well, that's right. But there's a lot of people clogging up the pipeline.
There is, but that's why there should be somebody that says there has to be like you know it's like Logan's Run. You know what I mean? You come in and you okay, tell me a thing, and then you spin in the air and they blow you up because you're not funny.
Right.
You're not funny. You can't be on stage. You cannot fucking. My wife came to me at a show one time. Right? We did this club. 3 comedians went on before me. They ate. You know what I mean? They didn't nibble on this cock. They ate it. They ate it worse than anything. It was, and she goes, if I would have paid for that show, I would never go back if I would pay for that show. And to think of that, how people can pay for a shitty show, what you're sending out there and saying, you know, if it's new talent or whatever. Don't fucking charge people to come in and say it's an open mic. It's no, you can't even charge a bar $3.50 so you can pay 3 losers $75 each. You can't do that. You can't do that and charge $20 at the door for something like that. You know what I mean? It's like, okay, if you go get a hooker, right? You get a hot one for $500.
I like where this is going.
Yeah, but you know what I'm saying? If you get a hooker for $500, now you pay $500 next time, and then this thing comes up to you and goes, yeah, I'm a hooker. You know what I mean? It's like saying I'm a comedian because, you know, it doesn't matter. You have to have standard.
Because I also have a drug problem.
Yeah, exactly. Well, that's another fucking thing, this fucking business.
Well, it's another thing, too, because they'll say, well, I headline. No, you're the last act on the fucking show. You're not a headliner.
Everyone says they headline, right?
Headline.
Who don't you know that's a feature or a MC that basically wouldn't take a headlining spot? And that's the thing.
Right.
You should say no.
Well, yeah. But I mean, look, you talked about it. You get these people who, you know, got pushed through Last Comic Standing who are running around the country, and their agents are, you know, these guys are learning how to headline on their feet for $2,500 a weekend. Mm-hmm. You know, like nobody's got to pay their dues anymore. You know, that's just not the way the business works. You know?
It's sad. As long as, look, man, you could suck. As long as you can pack a room,
that's what it is.
You're going to be working.
It used to be people went to go to comedy clubs. They didn't even know who was necessarily going to be there. They went there because they knew that they trusted the club and that process, and they were going to have a great time. That's how Yuck Yucks in Canada built their reputation. Mm-hmm. And now it doesn't matter. It's like, do I know that guy from a show or a YouTube video? Or an Instagram
John,
thing?
you were so correct that. You know what I mean? It needs to be where the people trust the club again. They have to go back to that.
Yeah, and you would get funny enough, and it wouldn't even matter so much. And also, you know, there wasn't 15,000 entertainment options out there. People were going to comedy clubs. You got funny enough, you could go, you could crush, you could kill for 45 minutes. That was the only criteria, you know? Mm-hmm. And now that's not the criteria at all because there's somebody that will fill that fucking spot. So now it's about butts and seats, right?
Yeah. And
you know, you got to keep the doors open. You got to pay your wait staff. I'm not even mad. I remember I was in Hyenas in Texas, and they were like, dude, Screech was here last week. Oh. He sucked. Not only did he suck, he was a terrible person, but the place was packed. He goes, man, you were really funny, man. Like, you know, and everybody's, you know, comedy's very subjective, but he's like, dude, you're the funniest guy that's come through these doors in 3 months. I don't know why the place is empty. I go, I know why, because nobody knows who I am.
Exactly.
That is why places are empty. Right. Because you cannot bring in a pile of shit and put it in somebody's, you know, house and then fucking and then go, oh, it's cleaned. I don't believe you. And that's how it is now. Right. You can't bring in like Screech. I mean,
nobody's going to pay to see that guy more than to see that guy twice, you know.
Hey, funny Screech story. About 6 years ago, I got a phone call from his manager.
And he's got a manager.
He goes,
I know.
Hey, Dino, how come Screech isn't at your club? I go, why would he be?
Because it's a comedy club?
He says, listen, for $7,000 and a first-class flight from Detroit, you can get him in. By the end of the conversation...
You had him down to what?
$300 a show.
Okay.
And he was paying for his own flight. I said, pass.
See, that's what it is. You know what I mean?
Yeah, but these other clubs, they were Screech, oh my God.
I've heard of Screech stories of clubs taking a beating.
Yeah.
Beating.
Of course.
For a weekend of Screech.
Yeah, but it's like, you know... It just doesn't work, you know what I mean? It's like, look, even the manager knows he's selling shit. He knows he's selling shit to you. He's just, you're selling a name, you know what I mean?
Right.
It's like
those guys don't want to do the work either. They're like, you know.
You could write and be, you can change, you can become funny. You can become funny if you have it.
For sure.
Right.
You can become funny even if you don't have it. Like if you're like studious and you figure out joke structure.
Yeah.
But like, you're never going to be a funny guy with a pack of comics at the table. Like you can kind of fucking figure it out. You know what I mean? Like you see it all the time. Like work trumps talent.
Yeah.
In that regard.
Yeah.
But some of these guys, they just don't even need to have it. And some of these managers, they're like, oh, you're really funny. We're going to put you into this. We're going to try and get you an audition for this festival. I know a guy over here that does this. I know a guy here that does this thing here. If one of those three things doesn't work out, we don't know what to do with you because we don't want to develop what's good about you and what's unique about you and your situation. They don't want to do the hard work. They don't want to keep you for the long haul. Hit something quick, start making money. We got bills to pay,
Yeah.
So.
But what do you think about festivals? To me, festivals are... whatever these, you know what I mean? The funniest person in fucking Ohio. I mean, look, you can't. You don't need the funniest person in Delaware. If you win that, you're a fucking idiot. You basically, it's all about these people pay to go in these things.
Right.
You know what I mean? Unless you're paying me fucking $5 or $10 grand, I'm not even going to show up at a festival. Right. I know how much you're making.
Right.
One set, I'm out of there. But that's it. But I'm not. You know what I mean?
Right.
All these people that are there are just they're packing the place. And they're paying to be in there.
It's funny.
That's why
I did a festival, and I ended up getting some work out of it or whatever, through funny business or something. And but I remember doing the festival, and the guy says it was Tuesday, and I did the show and ripped, and it was fun. And he goes, "Hey, you want to host Friday?" And I was like, "I mean, yeah, if we're talking about some money." I just overheard. You say how much money that the festival made over this week.
Yeah.
Right. You've had 5 shows, 400 or 500 people at a clip. Everybody's charging at least 20 a ticket. Some of them got festival passes. You want me to just hang around until Friday and put myself up in a hotel room so I can host for nothing?
Yeah.
I mean, I would love to do it, but I gotta, I've got
they
responsibilities.
Don't understand it. They don't understand
That said, the camaraderie in some of those situations is cool. You can meet some good, cool comics. If you're a young comic, I was probably too old to be doing that thing in the first place, right? But if you meet, as a young comic, it's like a ring you can grab. It's a good confidence booster. Right. It's something that's like, oh, I got that. It's like getting a belt in karate. You're like, oh, I'm an orange belt now. Now I can progress to the next level, Mm-hmm. Yeah, and it is a way to sort through some of the fucking garbage. It's, I just saw that kid kill in front of 400 people. I know we can come and do good in my club as opposed to some grainy 5 minute.
But they don't use it like that. Most of them don't use it. You know what I mean?
I'm not saying it's not bad. I'm just saying if you're a comic, I know why you're a young comic. I know why you're doing it.
But it's me having the funniest person in Deptford, New Jersey contest.
Right.
You understand? And then have people do, you know what I mean? And come down early and, we're going to paint my deck before. I want to see how hard you want to work to be in this business. If I was ever a con man, I'd get into comedy. And I would these fucking people, what you're doing is all these people do to him is say, I think you're really funny. You can make it. And they'll be like, wow, I am funny. Yeah, that's why I'm in this. Now you can make them, they can give you money. People get robbed all the time because they're like,
I've heard
just
of club guys be like, go pick up my dry cleaning. And they're like, okay.
Yeah. You're the
host.
But that's what it is. And it's like, when you make the booker more powerful than the comedian, the business is done. And that's when it's over, truthfully.
Well, there is no booker is going to be more powerful than the guys at the top of the game.
At the top of the game.
Right. But there are those entry level guys who keep guys, and
it's an ego
that everybody's
thing.
got to pass through.
But it's an ego thing. It's like most people think what you think is funny, not what your audience will, and that's when you go wrong. That's when people go wrong. They're like, you know what I mean? Oh, this is what it's funny. Oh, I don't have to pay him that much and he does good. It doesn't work that way. You don't do business like that. You don't do any other business like this.
I was in a club in Arkansas. Was it Arkansas? No, Tulsa, Oklahoma.
Same thing.
And Wednesday, this is the same club. It was a chain.
There you go.
And Wednesday night, there was 20 people there. It was a Wednesday. And I asked them, there was 20 people. I said, all right, this is 3 weeks before Hillary got elected. I said, all right, round of applause if you're voting for Trump this election. 18 people clapped. There was 2 lesbians sitting up front. I go, Hillary. They go, no, Gary Johnson. I go, Hillary can't even pull lesbians down here? This is crazy. Yeah. So then the next 5 shows, I said, the DJ guy goes, what do you want to come out to? I said, bring me out to Hulk Hogan, I Am a Real American.
Yeah.
And then, so he does, and I came out going, Hillary, 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 for 5 shows. It was like I was walking into a WWE match. People were going nuts. Some people were booing, but it was just a fun thing. I didn't even talk politics beyond that opening minute and a half, and the manager must have got pissed off, and all of us. And then I get an email the following week saying I got a complaint. No, you fucking didn't, because I stole all the comment cards and ripped them up.
You see, that's what it is.
But also, I had the people gonna like. I know when I've done bad. I know when I've been a tough run. I bombed at the Borgata for a fucking week straight.
Well, you should there, basically, from what I hear, the way that they put the tickets in. It's not
70% of the people were over 70 years old.
And they didn't want to be there to be happy. They're there because they got something for free.
And the manager guy goes, great job, guys. I'll see you guys again.
But that was a great show compared to what they see there. Right. Truthfully.
Oh, you don't know.
I'm sure. But the point is, the manager guy goes, see you again. I go, not me. I know when I'm doing bad.
Yeah.
I was not doing bad down there. Audiences were coming up to me like, hey, man, saw your video on the site. We drove 2 hours. That's why I'm here. I know when I'm doing bad. It's just I pissed off somebody who's like, you know what? I don't like what's going on. Fuck what everybody else thinks. You know? But somebody in the club.
But the funny thing is that, like I had a comedian hit me up, and so I'm sending you my set, and I want you to critique it. And he goes, because I know you're going to tell me the truth, because you're my friend, and I know you don't bullshit. And he goes, it's from a theater I did, and he goes, I just don't think I did good. And I looked at the tape. I look at the beginning. Music comes on. He's dancing like a big sissy. Like dancing to the music. I go, first there, you fucked up by dancing like a jerk off. You look like a jerk off. You're a big guy like me, and you look like a jerk off. You look like a little fucking pussy. You're coming out dancing just because you're at a theater. No. And I said, then you have the mic in the stand. You're just talking like a little timid fuck. You know what I mean? I could you take the mic stand out. He takes the mic out, and then he leaves the stand in front of him. And I'm like, you never leave the stand in front of you. You're in a theater and you're not pacing. You have to pace. You know what I mean?
Right.
And he goes, but they told me I did good. I go, because everyone's going to lie to you.
Right.
Of course they're going to tell you to do good. Right. Comics will tell you anything to your fucking face. That's what I hate. They suck like that.
And if you don't, you're the bad guy. How many times I've been the bad guy?
Well, look, I'll be the bad guy, but I've made comedians. I've made them fucking into comedians because I'm honest with them. They didn't become comedians because of the fuck. I blew smoke up their ass.
Right.
That doesn't work.
Nobody benefits from that.
Nobody gets smoke up your ass. Don't make talent.
Right.
Okay. And I'm going to be like, you're not ready. You have to listen to what I'm saying, and work on these things, and you'll come around. And when I see it, then I can see you want to do this.
All right, we got to take a break now. First half hour was over with. Come back and start off with an open mic story I got for you.
All right.
All right. Thank you. All right, guys, we are back with Behind the Laughter at BeTerrific.com studios in beautiful Secaucus, New Jersey.
Yes, you could smell the ocean.
Isn't it nice?
I did think pulling up here, I was like, where the fuck am I going right now?
You thought you were getting whacked, didn't
Yeah, I really did.
You finally thought I was going to get rid of your Mick ass, huh?
I was like, what did Bob got me into? Is this over a debt?
You didn't get him that gig you wanted.
Yeah.
But so we left about the open mic story. And I refuse to do open mics anymore.
Yeah, he won't do it.
I won't do it.
Because I wanted to bring in just new comics not new comics, but ones that he didn't see.
Right.
New to him. And he still.
What I always wanted to do with open mic is I always wanted to give them feedback at the end if they wanted it. Now, again, my club's different. You've never been there. Bob's been there.
Yeah.
If you have 20 minutes of material, you can't open here.
You can't.
Because you know what? You got to be able to shift gears, because if the crowd's not getting you, you got to have something in your arsenal.
Mm-hmm.
Right. So I figured let me give them feedback at the end. And I can't tell you how many guys from New York and I perform at Caroline's. Yeah, well, 3 o'clock in the afternoon on a Saturday doesn't really count.
Right.
But they're delusional. And they'll come after me after the open mic and they'll eat it for 3-4 minutes. They'll say, well, can I get some spots? I'm like, no. Well, you don't know what you're talking about. Okay, well, I know my club.
Well, that's all you need.
I know my club. And talk about honesty. There's this one guy who was so bad. He just talked about butt fucking his grandmother on stage for like 20 minutes.
I mean, we can't say it wasn't.
So,
Who talks about it longer than they can actually fuck their grandmother?
But at the end, he goes, what do you think?
What do you think?
I said, quit.
Yeah.
Quit. And he looked at me like, I'm serious. You fucking have nothing. You don't have stage presence. You don't know what you're doing up there. You're not fucking funny. Nobody was laughing. You up there for almost 10 minutes. Nobody was laughing. Well, you know what you're talking about. Okay.
Yeah.
Listen, and they'll tell me, and the reputation of Uncle Vinny's is, he only likes dirty comedy. Me personally, yes, I love dirty comedy. But I book Bob Nelson.
Yeah, no, do you have a lot
I book
of
Bobby
mixture?
Collins. I book Uncle Floyd.
Yeah, there's
They
a
sell
big
seats.
mixture.
I don't give a shit if I like them. I'm the last person you got to please.
Yeah, and the whole thing is that they're original acts. You know what I mean? It's not like it's like a bullshit act.
Those guys, so a lot of those guys, and listen, the best comics in the world go to New York to be the best, but there are a lot of guys in New York who, it's like a echo chamber of like Clapter and all that stuff. And they, they got a couple of like, vegan city jokes. And they take that shit 45 minutes in any direction. And you could hear a fucking pin drop, dude,
Yeah, everybody goes to a therapist. Everybody has a therapist joke in New York.
Right.
It's like, some of us can handle our fucking lives and we have to deal with it.
It's called booze.
Yeah. It's called booze. It's called abusive marriages.
Yeah,
it's called whatever it is. It's like I can call you guys up and say, fucking, I want to fucking kill this fucking. I don't need to go tell somebody. You know what I mean? I got to pay someone to say I want to kill somebody. No. You know what I mean? I fucking just relax. I'm like, okay, fine. You know what I mean? I don't need to.
That's what friends are for.
Yeah, exactly. You know what I mean? Who else are you going to call and tell them that you were doing coke for 3 fucking days, and you know what I mean? And you might have stuck a small dog in your asshole. You know what I mean? I'm going to tell a therapist that? No, I'm going to tell somebody I've fucking known for a long time.
Right.
They could say, "What's the matter with you?" And someone instead of saying, "Well, it's okay as long as the dog's okay." No.
Did the dog give consent?
Yeah.
But how do these guys survive out there? That's what I don't get. How do you get through life? How do you get? Yeah, exactly. How do you get through life?
You know what I mean?
You're running from the cellar to here to there, making $10 a spot. I actually heard a guy the other day.
Well, most of those guys aren't running to the cellar. That's
yeah.
Mike Feeney, funny guy, headlines my club, very funny guy. He got called from a comedy club in New York and said, "Hey, are you open on Wednesday night?" He said, "Yeah. You mind coming over to host?" And he goes, "Well, how much?" He said, "Well, you're open. We have to pay you?" What?
Well, that's why I want to open
That's
up.
delusional.
Yeah.
Because you know what? They think that Rodney's going to come walking through the door at Dangerfields. Guess what? He's dead.
Look, Rodney wasn't even there when I was there. I used to work there with Joe Rogan a lot, and we used to just sit in the back and laugh at the comedian because it was terrible.
Right.
You know what I mean? It was like, and really they thought, they really thought like Rodney, like the people that showed up at the club to see the show thought Rodney was going to come there, and they paid. Back then, I think it was $15 for a hamburger at Dangerfield, and that was years ago.
Right.
Okay. This is when.
This
was before Fear
90s
Factor.
money. Right.
Before Fear Factor for Joe, and we're sitting back there just going, "What's going on?" You know what I mean? That's when comedy started to get. I think it started to get everyone involved around then. Everybody could be a comic then, but now it came again.
Right.
There's a new cycle that just came.
Yeah.
And it's a new wave of fucking trash
Yeah.
that's pulling up. But if you can't listen to somebody, if somebody asks you an opinion, you know what I mean? Like if I painted somebody's house, right? And I got paint all over the rug. And I said, "What do you think of the paint?" And they go, "Well, you got it on the rug." Yeah, but look at the wall. You know what I mean? There's no good side to it. You understand? You can't take advice. That's what you're proving to me. When I ask you something and you say something else, there's no good side to it when you can't talk about the bad side of what you are. And that's what the problem is with people. They get offended. Why do you talk to people? If you don't want the truth, don't fucking talk to me because I'm not going to bullshit you. I don't need to bullshit you.
Yeah, I've been. It's funny because I'm like the guy that everybody will call when they hate somebody else. They'll be like, "Man, you know this guy here? Oh God, I can't stand him." And I'm like, "Man, why are you calling me with this?" It's because I'm honest with people.
Yeah.
You know, they think that I'm a bad guy. I'm just being honest. I'm like, "Oh, dude, that was terrible." I remember telling somebody, you know, guy in New York City comic after a roast battle, I was like, "Oh, buddy, that was a tough one." You know, kind of being like, you know, it happens.
Yeah.
You know what I
Yeah,
mean? Like, and he goes, "What? I didn't do bad."
Oh,
I go,
God.
what? Oh, I go, have you never bombed before, dude?
Yeah.
And he got so furious. I didn't bomb, you bombed. I was like, all right, I'm not saying I did great. It's a tough crowd, but you walked half of this place right now, dude.
Yeah.
Right now. You got to take some ownership on that. You know?
If I had $1 for every comedian who said to me they never bombed,
If you're not bombing, then there's you're not operating outside of your comfort zone. You're not pushing yourself enough,
Right.
or you're a goddamn hack.
Right.
That's what it is.
Yeah.
right?
Or you me. No, I'm kidding. Oh, you're the greatest entertainment that ever lived. Oh, yeah. What's going to happen?
So, John, tell me how you got started.
Yeah. How did you get started? Like,
It's like almost 20 years, you said.
I haven't. I just met him recently too, not long ago,
Yeah.
and I just dug him right up the bat.
Okay.
Because funny, honesty, and all that shit. And, you know what I mean? And dashing good looks that can't tan.
Hey, that's right. An Irish prince.
Yeah.
So I was. My dad actually told me to like get into comedy. I was like signing up to be an economics major, and he was like, "What? See, well, you're not that. You know, you should be entertaining somewhere." And I remember I went and I did a Yuck Yucks open mic, and you know, crushed with the Mike Tyson impersonation, and I
Yuck
crushed.
Yucks in Canada.
Yeah, and I crushed. And my dad made the mistake of telling me, like, a waitress came up to him and went, "We're going to be seeing more of him."
Really?
You know, and then, so I thought I was like the shit. I didn't call Yuck Yucks again for 6 months. And I called and left a message like I was the guy they were waiting for. Like, hey, it's me, John Moses. Like, they were pining, waiting for me to call.
Oh,
right?
he finally rang.
The star.
The guy from the open mic that had a good 5 minutes.
Yeah. That was kind of hacky, you know? So, you know, so then I did some mics out there, and then, you know, I finally sat down with the guy who owned Yuck Yucks, and he was like, "Listen, dude, you're funny, but you got kind of like an urban edge to you. I think you do well in the States." And and as luck would have it, I'm an American citizen through me being native. And I had drank my way out of university, so I was already on a one-way ticket coming down here.
Okay.
Wait, so you're Canadian?
Yeah.
I had no idea about that.
Yeah. I was living in Canada, and people said that. "Aren't you from Boston?" I'm like, "No, dude, I'm right here. I'm from here."
Yeah, you look like you should own a Wahlburger.
Montreal,
I
Toronto.
know. Toronto.
Yeah, you see, I never knew that at all. I would never, but I noticed you kept saying Canada and then Yuck Yucks and then
Right,
open mic, and it's like, it's hitting me.
So
hey, this guy could be a Canadian.
Yeah, there's a couple of angry ones out there. People are like, "Dude, you don't seem Canadian at all." It's like, you don't know enough Canadians. Most of the pricks I know are from Canada. So here's a good mic story. I was doing some mic there, and I don't drink anymore, but I used to drink, and the reason is because I used to drink a lot. So I was boozed up from this mic, and I went next door, and then I started drinking with this other guy who is now a convicted rapist.
Oh my God.
I didn't know at the time.
Mike Tyson?
So we go to this bar and it's empty. I'm like, whatever. So I start pounding beers at the bar, and there's like house music, and I love house music. That should have been the first hint that it was a gay bar, right?
Oh, God.
I'm drinking a beer, and I close my eyes, and I'm chugging, and I open my eyes, and there's this little like gay dude just kind of grooving on me, and I immediately realized what happened. Like, oh my God, this is a gay bar. And in my mind, I go, it would be hilarious if I just picked this guy up like I was going to body slam him, you know?
Oh my God.
So I pick him up like I'm going to body slam him, and I get rushed by like 3 or 4 of his gay buddies. Like they were running in a pack. Why they didn't just stay home and fuck the shit out of each other, I'll never know.
Because they were looking at you.
Yeah. So they rush me, and I stumble back. I was going to like put him down and go, "I'm just kidding," you know? I stumble back and fall through a glass table.
Oh my
I got
God.
a back full of glass, and this little gay dude like wriggling on top of me trying to get off.
Oh my God.
And I remember sitting there waiting for the train, like just like bleeding a little bit, going, what the fuck just happened? Oh my God. So those are one of the many tales of why I don't drink anymore. But.
Yeah, I mean, God, it ended kind of sexy, but I mean,
Hey, you know.
He might have finished.
I'm not saying he didn't.
Yeah.
Yeah, but open mics are just like, you know, if nobody's going to, most of the times, the other comedians ain't going to pay attention to you.
No.
Their friends are not going to pay attention to you.
No.
And it's like really, you really have to learn your craft there. You know what I mean? It's like It's like I tell comedians, if it's a small crowd, I go, this is when you're going to learn. You're not going to learn how to do comedy in front of a full house. Mm-hmm. You're supposed to know. You're supposed to have everything that you learn from doing in front of 15 people. That's when you try your hardest, because that's when you become a comedian. Anybody can be a comic and get kind of lucky in front of 400 or 250.
Right, it's Saturday. They're there to laugh anyway.
Exactly. But when you can make anybody laugh
and grab their attention,
that's when you become a comic. That's when you learn your craft. That's how you fucking learn to be funny. You can't just go, I'm just gonna do my thing and get out of here. You can't do it because people came. No matter what, people came. And it doesn't matter the size.
Right. And that's where you cut your teeth, you know, and there's a value to them. There's a place in the business for them. And that's, you know, if you're beginning, that's where you got to start. And some guys will still go and work stuff out, you know.
I work it out live.
Dude, I will go if I'm like, you know, if I got a show on a Friday and I get there on a Thursday because I'm flying in or driving in and trying to get there early. If there's something in town, I will go and maybe go and, you know, tell a new joke or do something or just to get out of the hotel room and try and get a little something, a little read on the town. So when I got crowd work for the next night, I got something in my hand, you know?
Well, that's what it is. And people, what I noticed about anywhere you go, if you take time to know about the town, it works because you're doing something. You're preparing for where you are.
Right.
You understand? I seen a guy that one time worked with me upstate New York. He knew everything about the town, and he goes, "I just went online."
Right.
And it was killing. He was killing.
Right.
And I'm like, you know, he's talking about a hardware store. How the fuck is this funny? But it was funny.
They know.
Because it's the moment.
Right.
It's the moment that you're in that you have to do good. You know what I mean?
That's right.
It's like you can't go in there and go, I'm going to do my act. And, you know, if I'm too edgy I love when people go, they're too edgy. You know, you're just not funny.
Right.
You don't know how to adjust.
Right.
You have to, you know, you can be dirty. As long as you're good, you can sell anything.
Right.
You can sell anything.
Yeah, right. As long as you're good and they like you, you can sell anything.
You can sell anything.
Yeah, it's so big to know the club you're performing at. It really is.
It is, man.
It really is.
And the people that come out, you know, they appreciate it so much more than, you know, they're like, he took time to figure out, you know, the area.
They do appreciate it. And then also that, you know, how many times do you go to a place and you rip and they're like, did you just think of all that off the top of your head? And you're like, yeah, buddy, that's what that's what I did. No, but it's like, but there's nothing like great crowd work, being spontaneous. So if you're going and you're saying a bunch of local shit and they pick up on the fact that you just got there, I mean, even if you just wrote it 15 minutes ago, it's still pretty spontaneous.
Oh, yeah.
You know, like people appreciate that.
Yeah.
You know?
And basically you have to wing it anyway and you just have the ideas and you're like, fuck it, I'm going to think this is what I say.
Right.
Yeah.
Right.
And it just works much better than that.
Yeah, like my club, for instance, smart comedy does not work.
Right.
Call my wife a whore, call me an asshole. That fucking works.
Does it? See, you never know.
Smart doesn't work.
I'm like, well, no wonder why I kill.
There you go.
No, but like, you know what I mean? To me, it's just another.
I'll put away this soliloquy.
Yeah.
You know, I get no Shakespeare for Levy tonight.
Yeah.
But you understand, like, I go there and I go, look at the crowd, okay?
Yeah.
I got it.
Right.
Before I go on stage, I got every
I know
crowd.
where I'm going.
I know exactly where I'm going.
But then again, I've had some comics bring notes up on stage.
Right.
And my fans fucking hate that.
Well, that's because it takes away, because that's pulling the whole curtain
They
back.
know comedy.
You know?
Exactly. That's what it's doing. It is doing that.
Right.
You know what I mean? It's like, oh my God, he's just not funny. He's programmed.
Right. Also, you've got 42 years in the business.
No, I don't. 42 years.
88. 98.
32.
32.
Yeah, like 30. Okay. 42. Fucking Jesus Christ. I'm only 47.
Wait.
Wait a minute. How the fuck yeah, that wouldn't mean I started when I was 10. No, you're wrong.
So he would fit my club.
2000.
No
He would kill in your club.
Not there.
No, because you know why? He's got
Can't do
balls.
basic math.
Because he's got
He's in.
He can host an open math contest on a Tuesday. No, but like you know what I mean. He knows how to do comedy.
But also there is something that just, you do something for 20, 30 years, dude. You get a plumber that's been doing something for 20 years.
well, you should do. You know what I mean. You should be, and that's why like. I can see like the work, like sometimes somebody will book you on a private gig and it's just it's horrible setup and it's whatever, and it's like I'm gonna do it. I'm gonna kill. I have to kill.
Right.
You know what I mean? Because it's like
I just did an AA gig in Chicago, and good gig, and they paid well, and they flew me out there, not first class, but the hotel was it was a good gig. You fly in, you do the gig, you come home. But I walk in and there's a dance floor.
wide open. It's a horseshoe.
Dude, it's a horseshoe.
Everyone.
Right, and I'm working on a cordless mic. Like I know you didn't want to be behind the podium. Like I'm working on a tinny cordless mic.
Of course.
It takes me 4 or 5 minutes. They don't, there's no intro. There's no nothing. It's just here's John Moses. There's no opener.
Yeah.
So you got to go in there and for 5 minutes. They're figuring out what's happening.
Yeah, because they're still eating or whatever.
Fucking give it to them, and you find a way to win. You know what I mean? And you win. But that's because 20 years of doing this,
it's like a fight. You have to figure out your opponent. That's your opponent. You have to look at it like your opponent. Every time you look at the audience, that's your opponent. And you have to know how to win them, win to beat them. And it's for you to make them happy.
And I remember I was doing like a road gig with some kid, and I know I've been there. You know what I mean? Where it's not going good, and you start speeding, and I'm watching him speed up there, and I'm like, "Oh, dude!" And then I went up there, and I was just like, "Crack open a can of Coke, take my time, slow it down, be comfortable, don't sweat." And he was like, "Oh, I saw what you did there, dude. You slowed it down."
You brought it into brought them into your zone. If somebody goes up there and they're playing a guitar in front of me or whatever they're fucking doing, they're fucking juggling or whatever, running around, I'm not doing that, okay? I am going to slow it down. I'm going to say, I'm in control of this. Now, watch the speed here.
Right.
I bring it down, then now we're on my train.
Right.
And I'm the conductor, and now I got you. But for me to go up there and go, "Hey, how about a hand for him? Hey, you're doing, it doesn't work that way."
Try to do 45 minutes worth of material, 20 minutes.
Yeah, because he's up there fucking yelling. You know what I mean? Just because you have a Coke problem and a coffee addiction doesn't mean that fucking I still do. You know?
You don't drink coffee anymore.
So you're down in South Jersey area.
I'm in Red Bank now.
Red Bank.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
So any horror stories on the road? What's your worst gig you ever did on the road?
Man, I don't know.
So, you know what I mean?
Worst one, like
you
have a sliding scale story or anything like that?
Nothing crazy.
Or like the owner doesn't pay you afterwards, like something like that. Tries to sneak away.
Or like you were too dirty, I can't pay you.
I mean, there's definitely been some complaints.
Well,
Well, they should know.
There was. I don't do colleges anymore. Let's just say that.
Yeah.
But the last time I did a college gig, and this wasn't even crazy or nothing, but the guy's telling me beforehand, he's like, "Listen, you got to be clean. This is like almost like a church type of school.
Yeah.
Not like a fully like Catholic college, but it's like,
He's like, look, John, if you look in the other room, they're molesting young little boys. This is how clean we need.
Do not swear.
Don't go against our fucking word.
Right. So, and then like 5 minutes beforehand, the booker guy was a scumbag. He was one of these guys who you're making $700 for the gig and you're feeling good about it. I'm flying somewhere making $700, and then you find out the budget was $10,000.
Yeah.
He picks you up in a Rolls Royce or something.
Yeah.
So he
comedy's
says,
my life.
Right. He says 5 minutes before, he goes, "Oh, I just talked to some student body rep. You can do whatever you want." I see the student body rep. I go, "You sure?" And they're like, "Oh, just do whatever you do." So I go up there and I'm like so relieved that I don't have to work within these confines. And I'm up there for 7 minutes. And apparently there's just a guy, like not the dean, but some staff faculty guy in the back, just like,
Oh, yeah.
Finally,
the panic of
I felt the cord get yanked
out of your hand,
out of the mic.
Oh,
dude.
wow!
I was holding the mic and just went dink, and I go, "What?" And then the booker guy's jumping up and down like it's something I did. I was like, "You said I could do whatever I want." So then that was it. So I was just like, "Okay, thanks."
You pick up the wire. Thanks, guys.
But those college gigs are good, though. I mean, and the one good thing about it, Jay Black always tells me a story. He says, "Listen, they have to spend the budget,
Right,
or they lose it." And he told me once, I forget what college it was. It had to be somewhere in the Midwest, maybe Iowa, Illinois, right around there. And nobody showed up.
Yeah.
For like the first 20 minutes. So the person who booked him there said, no, we want you to perform. Mm-hmm. He did his act in front of nobody for 40 minutes. Wow. Somebody walked in like 2 minutes at the end of the show, gave him the last 2 minutes and said, okay, good night. And Jay said to him, why did you do this? Mm-hmm. He says, just in case somebody was running late and wanted to see a comedy show. Jay's like, all right. I made my 2 G's and I walked out the door.
That's right. That's what it is.
It's insane.
Crazy.
So I used to host an amateur strip contest in the Bronx for 6 years. And it was late on a Thursday night. I would do a show in Philly and still get back to do it. It started at 2 a.m. And I was like the only white person for a quarter mile other than the guy that owned the place. And he loved that, that I was that guy. But so I would host this amateur strip contest. And while I was hosting it, I'd be roasting the girls as they stripped. And then I would judge them. And I remember I called one chick dick tits.
Oh, my God.
And she spit in my face.
Oh, God, that is so hot.
You're disqualified.
That is so hot, dude.
Technical.
I just wiped it off and the crowd was going nuts.
Oh, was it one of the spits where she turned her tongue inside? You know how they spit when they turn the tongue into the funnel? Yeah, that one.
You're like, I'll do it again.
Oh, that's horrible. That's horrible.
It is amazing what we go to in this business.
Oh, yeah. I might have deserved that one.
Well, it goes back to if there's a stage and a microphone, they think, oh, it's a comedy show.
Right.
They don't give a shit.
Right.
Well,
that place was probably making $30,000 a night on that night, so they didn't care.
I had a place in Howell, New Jersey. He called me up and said, I want to do comedy. I walk into the place. He's got a huge circle bar of about 100 seats. Cubby holes that are maybe 4 feet each with a couple booths in them.
Yeah.
I said, where do you want me to do this? Well, the stage is over there. You have 20 TVs around. 100 seats at the bar. You want a guy to try to go up on stage and perform?
The only seats that are by the stage got their backs turned to them because they're probably facing the bar.
Boots.
Right.
Exactly.
That's another thing. Just doing it in the wrong places and just people go there and go, this like even a band couldn't you know what I mean?
Right.
Can't even set up and enjoy themselves because you can't watch it.
Right.
You can listen to a band more, but it's not entertaining.
Right. A band can do 40 without anybody paying attention.
Right.
You know?
Well, you know Joey Vega.
Yeah.
Right? Joey Vega's a funny guy.
Yeah.
Very funny guy, right? So I had a hotel down by me in Point Pleasant. They wanted to do a comedy show on New Year's Eve. I sat with the owner of the hotel and I sat with the food and beverage person. I said, listen, you have to do the comedy show once dessert is served.
Yeah.
Do not, I repeat, do not have them dance before the comedy show. Mm-hmm. So what does he fucking do?
Start the music.
And they got him dancing in between courses.
So I had about 3 or 4 more drinks while that
They're
happened.
dancing. They sit him down and they said, okay, now we're going to do Joey Vega. As Joey's on stage. Now, they're already pissed off that, they had to stop dancing.
Right.
Waitresses come out with dessert as he's on stage. Joey's sweating. He does like 40, 45 minutes. He gets off the stage. They fucking complained to me the next day and said, well, we didn't get the full hour. Like, guys, what did you do? You fucking sabotaged them, you idiots. Right. Well, no, but it's New Year's Eve. They have to dance. So then don't do a comedy show if you don't know what you're doing.
They have to dance.
They have to dance.
You dance from 10:30.
You started a show. You started
1 in
dinner
the
at
morning.
8. You started dinner at 8.
Right.
You're done by 9:30. Let them do comedy from 9:30 to 10:15. You got 2 hours to fucking dance.
Yeah, well, that's the other thing. These people don't know. They're like, hey, we want an hour and a half show. No, you don't. You want a 45-minute show to an hour show. You want 2 guys to come in here, full barrels, blast 30 minutes.
At a private party, definitely.
Yeah. You don't want 90 minutes. You don't want a 2-hour show.
You don't.
No.
You don't. And people just don't get it. People don't get it when they send you to a horseshoe fucking, it's like a wedding hall almost.
Right.
You know what I mean?
Right.
Like a wedding reception. And people aren't even near you. And they're like, so you're doing an hour? And I'm like, do you really want an hour? I'm like,
why don't we just do it till the fun stops?
Well, that's what it is. If you can't, comedy is something that, you can't just do, 2 hours. And if it's not good that night, it's horrendous for everyone, included the comedian.
Right.
You know, so I'm like, stay up there until you think it's not good anymore. You know what I mean? Until you're not killing.
Right.
Just kill. Just kill and get the fuck off.
Right. And nobody's ever going to be, leave them wanting more. But
exactly.
If you kill and you do 30 minutes, nobody's ever going to be like, oh man,
it was short.
Right. They might be like, oh, I wish I would have seen more.
Yeah.
But they're not going to complain. But if you're up there for an hour,
they said he was going to do
30 minutes.
Yeah, 33 minutes.
Oh,
he did
fucking
30.
painful, dude.
Exactly.
We get phone calls all the time for roasts. Oh, I'm going to roast my husband. Like, no, you don't really want to.
Right.
You don't want. Well, no. Why can't we do? I said because you know what? Nobody knows your husband.
Yeah.
He's a nobody. Like we did the Iron Sheik roast. I sent comics down there. Everyone knows the Iron Sheik. Everyone had material on it.
Right.
Bill, the fucking, the finance guy.
Yeah.
Well, how funny is he going to fucking be?
And when you're there making fun of somebody, when you're making fun of somebody, his friends are not. You're making fun of his wife. I've done these before. I've done some where they're great. And I've done some where they're like, what a piece of shit this guy is saying that to my friend. But they should be as brutal as possible. And I'm up, and the guy's like, he's a nice guy. I'm like, shut the fuck up. It's a fucking roast. They paid me for this. Yeah, you fucking don't get anything in your fucking life.
I used to do these things called hateograms, and it was like a 15-second roast. I'd be like, send me 5 things about somebody, and I'll roast them. And I'll, give me, at first I was charging people $10 and then nobody was really biting. And I was like, whatever, I'll do it for $1 just to try and like build up something, and I would do them. Some people loved them, but then some people would be like, oh, roast my friend. And then I'd do it. And I'd get a message back like, can you please take that down? They're weeping.
Exactly. And
that's what's called Cameo.com now.
Yeah, it is. This was 5 years before Cameo.
So you invented Cameo. You didn't even know it.
Yeah. Will you tell us about what you're doing now with the comics before we get out of here?
All right, yeah. So I'll try and keep this as brief as possible because I. All
right, thanks, John.
Thank you. Because I could talk about this for hours. But so I used to buy and flip houses, 10 years ago when I was just 15 years ago when I was just starting out in Massachusetts.
In Ontario, but go ahead. No,
Massachusetts actually.
Cool.
And the idea was to always, flip houses to make money, to buy property that you hold on to, that you can rent out. And then I would live off the rents and be able to do comedy like a rich kid,
Nice.
And then things, sort of turned the corner in 2008 and things sort of zeroed out. I cashed out. My partner cashed me out. I said, I'm just going to go sleep on couches in New York. I'll figure it out. I'll be famous. And then, after 10 years, I was like, all right, well, that ain't happening. But, I had some, the thing about comics are like, you'll get some, doesn't matter what level you're at, you'll have some great nights, you'll have some great stories, and, I've, headlined it all over the United States, performed in Canada, performed in, a couple of countries, whatever, it was good, but, had a kid, got married, and I was like, this is, the agent and the manager all went away, and I was like, you know what, this might just be it forever. I might be doing $800 to $1,000 weekend clubs until I die. I'm going to need to make some money. So I started looking into flipping again. And, I was a licensed realtor. I'm now a licensed home inspector in Jersey. And then when me and my wife bought my house, I was amazed that we were able to get qualified, and because they're going through every deposit that I ever put, and I'm working that strip club gig. I'm making like big cash deposits Thursday night at 3 a.m. It was like a straight drug deal,
Yeah.
And they asked me, they go, "What is this?" And I was like, "Well, dude, it was a cash gig, like, And then I hand the guy like I don't even know what they call it, but it was almost like a 1099, but it was like the royalties, right, for Sound Exchange. And he's like, "I've been doing mortgages for 20 years." I don't even know what to make of this. Like, I got to go run this up the aisle.
Right.
Now we had a co-signer and my wife has a real job, but all of that stuff sort of factored in. And I was like, man, if I can qualify for a mortgage, I bet you a bunch of like comics could. Like a bunch of these guys working bullshit temp jobs, or even if you're a comic who's had like 1 or 2 really good years, it's like awesome. Right. Go qualify for a property right now while you can.
Yeah.
Get the mortgage, and then who gives a shit?
What happens at? Yeah.
Right. You know what I mean? Like you're going to be paying rent somewhere
you might as well keep this.
Right. So I was, I got friends who were getting priced out of Brooklyn even to rent, and I was like, you should go, Newark, and this is like a different aspect, but like Newark's a half hour from New York City, 15 minutes from most places. super affordable right now. It's crazy. It's, you know, there are still some real crazy areas, but there are some areas that are pretty good.
Yeah.
And I was telling my buddy, he was getting priced at he was paying $1,500 for a 1-bedroom in Harlem. I'm like, dude, you can own a house over here. So then I started hanging out with some other investors, going to these meetings, and I'm telling them my idea, and they're like, no. You put him in a 3-family home, you know, that bullshit house that he could have afforded would have been $120,000, and it's never going to make him any money. You put him in a 3-family home, he can qualify for that, you know, making $40,000, and then the rents from the 2 units are going to help him qualify for a house that's worth $300,000. It's not going to be in a neighborhood that's dog shit, right?
Yeah.
Right.
So that's the other side of the show. So a part of it's me buying and fixing houses. A part of it's me trying to get comics and other artists and see how we can get them to qualify for something. And then it starts to open. That's just Newark and New York because it's commutable.
Right.
Yeah.
There's a bunch of shit in AC there's a bunch of cool shit that's going on, like real estate developers from Asbury Park going down there, spending a bunch of money. I just happen to know. You know, so now I'm like, well, AC's got a little bit of a
buzz,
you know, a little buzz, got a little growing comedy scene. Maybe there's some cool comics down there who are living down there, you know, paying dog shit rent. Maybe we can get them in a place, you know, them and some other comics can own the place for, you know, maybe less than what they're renting for.
Yeah.
And then they got a bunch of first-time home buyer credits. Then they got these HUD houses that they won't even sell to somebody who's making more than $20,000. And I'm like, oh, buddy, this is you are basically creating a buying system for comics.
A comedy,
you know,
comedy village.
a comedy village. That was what we're trying to do in Newark, right? So we're doing all this sort of stuff. It's not just, you watch these HGTV shows, they're like, this is how you flip a house.
Yeah.
Their fucking numbers are bullshit. They never show you how to hire and fire a contractor. They never talk about 3 bids. Any ninny out there who's like now watching an HGTV show thinks that they can go and fix a house. They end up overpaying. You know, they actually drive up the price of the market.
Exactly.
So we're showing like, this is how you find a good deal. This is how you hire contractors. This is where you get fucked. This is the mistakes that we're making. So that's like a soup to nuts, like how you really buy and fix a house. But then we're also going to show how you fix somebody's credit up to try and get them in a house. Because if you can qualify a comic, you can qualify a waitress. You know?
Yeah, nice.
So that's the whole thing.
That's good.
In a nutshell, right? And I don't even give a fuck about pitching it because we're doing it anyway.
Yeah.
And we got the means to record some of it. And you know what? If I have 100,000 Instagram followers who are sort of, you know, picking up on the house stuff, and I'll sell my book. Like, I don't give a fuck.
Well, maybe there's an idea where we can send some cameras down and film a show and then send it out.
Right.
We can do that.
Dude, 100%.
We can do that.
100%.
We have it here.
Right. That would be awesome.
Yeah.
But that's the thing. Like, and the other thing, like, I've pitched shows before. You know, it's funny. I remember I was sitting with, like, MTV in,
I sat with
in
them too.
California.
Yeah.
And they were like, oh, man, I guess we could use you as a dad. I'm like, fuck, dude, I'm 32.
You're her dad.
I'm
for that.
40 now. I know, but I'm 32. You're casting people who are 28 to play 16-year-olds. I'm going to play this 28-year-old's dad? Like, in what fucking world, you lunatics?
It's the beard.
That was 8 years ago, by the way. I'm not 32 anymore.
And I thought you were great on Beverly Hills 90210.
You know what the funny?
Ian Zieri.
The funny thing is, he's a businessman. Look at him. He's got a business card already for
Who does?
BeTerrific. He's already thinking ahead.
Yeah, see?
He's already thinking ahead.
That's good.
I was just trying to get the logo up.
See, comics think outside the box.
Yes. We got to
Anyway.
go.
All right, guys. First episode Behind the Laughter. John, thank you so much for coming in.
Yeah, thanks for having me,
Bob, we will see
Love you,
you
brother.
next week. You gonna
Next
show
week?
back up?
Yes,
All right,
unless I'm dead from my. I have to go to a doctor tomorrow, but I'll be all right.
All right. Guys, thank you for the first episode. Later. BeTerrific.com.
Yes.
Sweet.